Yeah.
I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Off alone for the first time, especially to a historically black college. Before David Banner, before the music, I was Lavelle Crump, a black boy from Mississippi. And my mother told me to pick one college and one college open only. And that college had to be outside of Mississippi because she knew that I needed to get away from home to grow, that I needed to see a bigger world than the one that I knew. And I chose Southern University, A&M College in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And really quickly, you all, my mother is going through a last stage of chemo, and she couldn't make it tonight. And Mom, I love you. She drove me to Southern. My mother walked into the admissions office and she said that my son is going to this school. And let me pause for a minute. They thought she was playing. She sat there for 4 hours and that lady said, "You serious, huh, ma'am? Come on in here." I was enrolled and I will never forget that moment because it showed me the power of making a decision and not waiting for permission. The amazing thing is, Southern University did exactly what my mother intended. I got an education and I learned not just in the classroom, but also on campus. I talked to my peers and I saw them suffering. I knew that I had the power to do something about it. Southern University taught me the real meaning of leadership and that it isn't just about holding a position. It is about taking action. Tonight, I'm not just accepting an award for David Banner, the artist. I am also accepting it for the young man who was shaped by Mississippi, by Southern University, and by the collective power of our people. Thank you, BET, and thank you to HBCU Honors for recognizing the impact of my work, not just my art.
This is Dr. Cavil. I want to say welcome to episode 832 of Inside the HBCU Sports Live radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU diaspora, all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small. From the NAIA to the NCAA, we share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. In short, we just call it HBCU sports pedagogy. But you also have heard me talk about the sporting HBCU diaspora or just HBCU sports culture. So I came across that video. I know a lot of you all it would resonate with, and it certainly resonated with me. Thought it'd be appropriate to open up the show because he gave a really good definition of what we strive to do week to week, every other day when we talk about during the week from Tuesday and Thursday and during the football season on Sunday. And at times when we have a on-site special edition. It's just giving what you already know, our viewers, some insight in terms of the HBCU sports culture, and just wanted to share it from somebody, David Banner, as we know him in terms of his hip-hop name, in other mediums in terms of what he's done and went on to do. But to talk about where it started in Mississippi, Jackson in a lot of ways, and then his educational, higher education opportunity at Southern University, A&M College, as he specifically said. So I just wanted to recognize that and tell everybody, I'm your host, Dr. Cavil, along with my co-host Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. I would say Mike Washington is out on assignment, but I got a disturbing note today. I didn't know if it was him trying to get work release or if it was, tantalizing and taunting in regards to he was in the Caribbean. I got so mad. I said some choice words. And then I said, oh, you're going hashtag deep cover. And he didn't even have the nerve to share pictures. I think I messed up because he did eventually share pictures, and it just made me even more mad. But with that being said, we wish Mike Washington well, and we're going to carry on as we like to do with the show. With Charles Bishop, we have AD Drew, and we are filming from inside our home studios and sending a signal live as we do. KCWA 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Famer, as we like to remind everybody, Ralph Cooper, and we are in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. With that being said, let's bring on the other co-hosts, the professors of the hour, in terms of our HBCU sports lecture. Charles, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Doc. Shout out to David Banner, my mom's former student from Provine High School there in Jackson. And Banner was part of one heck of a hip-hop team, Crooked Letters. Go back and go check out that album. Feature from Pimp C and Nori on there, but it's still a classic Southern anthem album. So shout out to Banner.
Yeah, no doubt. Putting them roots in Mississippi, they put their foot on that. Crooked Letters, I remember it, and I had it in my rotation. Mm-hmm. Give me some insights on Mississippi outside of what I've read and covered in the new framework, but they put in some work. Two talented brothers, one Jackson State University, the other one Southern University. Fascinating partnership when you talk about it from a sport context, and probably beyond that in terms of the rivalry. And while we say it's intense, it is respected in so many ways. Friendly may not be the word to use, but certainly respected among those two groups in terms of how they go at each other. A couple of other very deep-rooted top five type of intense rivalries beyond those in-state rivals that are like that. And I love it as somebody that loves the HBCU sports culture, as he talked about. So I'm glad that, one, you shared that with me beforehand, and that you bring it up again because it's particularly right. Absolutely.
We are absolutely rivals, but I always say I have never had a bad trip to Baton Rouge. So let's go.
100 for the checkbox on that. AD Drew, how are you doing today?
Excellent soliloquy to open up the show there by David Banner, but I had to look down and check my calendar on my phone because I thought it was Saturday, and I thought we was opening up the Carlos Brown show with the way he was talking about Southern right there, Dr. Cavil.
Yeah, you're right. I'm one of the few guys out there that will go beyond the institution. There's certainly times, like last year, the continuation of this previous sports year where the football team won the SWAC championship, as well as the basketball team winning the tournament. And which lifted the athletic director, Anton Goff, to a top 6 appearances. So, I can't get enough of that. We might even have time to play the commercial to remind you all what took place. So, AD Drew, I'm so glad that you pointed that out.
Stirred up some stuff last week, Doc.
Except for one thing, Dr. Cavil, you said last year, the athletic year does not end until we wake up in the morning. Today is the last day
good call.
of the athletic
You're right,
year.
July 1st from when we talk about conference turning. Tomorrow is the magic day, and all these thought processes out here, and so many folks mad at Congress, even though they were trying to get their way. It looks like I wonder if we have any conference turning on any level. Tennessee State, are they making any secret plans? I hadn't heard anything, so I think they're chilling right now. So we can get past that. But great point when you talk about the year. So yes, I'm still living in it, and I'm going to celebrate it.
So and those championships retire officially in the morning.
Yes, good call, AD. I appreciate that. Let's get into it. We got some news of the day, so I'm gonna go with you, Charles. Go back to you. What is your news of the day? What direction are you going in terms of your thoughts?
Yeah, we touch on all parts of the culture, so I'm gonna go in this direction. Nathan Hamer, former Southern band director, he resurfaces at Alabama A&M. This comes to us from HBCUsports.com, but Alabama A&M has added a familiar HBCU band figure to its operation. Nathan Hamer, the former Southern University band director, is now over at Alabama A&M, and of course, Hamer. In terms of offering a path forward, he says he does not take that lightly. Life has a way of reminding us that every season has a purpose. Some seasons stretch you, some humble you, and some prepare you for the blessings you never saw coming. So that's a statement from Nathan Hamer in terms of coming over from Southern to Alabama A&M. So, he brings us a different sort of swagger with him wherever he is. So he definitely had that jukebox up and humming over there during his tenure there, and now he's over at Alabama A&M.
Yeah, I was glad to see the announcement. Glad to see that he has this opportunity. It should be fascinating, as you said. New band director overall for Alabama A&M, and then they make this move. It's one of those things that I'm sure the HBCU band culture, like we like to call it HBCU, a marching sport. I would have to say, Alabama A&M is back in the band business.
I think it's easy to say that. Yes, very much so.
Shameless plug, everybody. You should be able to see his debut at the Cricket BX Swag Challenge kickoff presented by Toyota.
That's a good plug because it's accurate and a good point to make. Yeah, we get a chance to see them putting in some work, get off the ground running. Boy, that's a good one. Good job, AD Drew, catching that. With that being said, I'm going to stay with you, AD Drew. What sports news of the day or sports culture framework, what is on your mind today?
Going into the business world here, Dr. Cavil and Charles, and we're going to pull out our inner Brian Fulford with this story. Brian likes to lay down a lot of pizza money. Well, if he ever lays that pizza money down in North Carolina, it's going to benefit our HBCUs, as North Carolina budget shows how much HBCUs could make from sports betting. And this is courtesy of HBCU Game Day.com. North Carolina sports betting has entered a new phase, and HBCUs now know where the ceiling is at. The proposed budget, they're going to increase the taxes from 18 to 23%, and the proposed budget keeps the original $300,000 payment for all 13 state-funded institutions in North Carolina, which includes HBCUs such as A&T, Central, Elizabeth City, Fayetteville, and Winston-Salem. Now, obviously, $300,000 on our budget is large, and I don't want to get too deep because I may nerd some people out, and there are a lot of questions that I do have about some of these things, but they basically identified 3 different classes in which our HBCUs can make money. Class 1, where you've got a base appropriation of $300,000. Then there's another $400,000 that they could gain based upon the gambling money and meeting certain benchmarks. And then there's up to another. Where the $400,000, let me take that back, is exclusively for the Division I schools, which A&T and Central are. So there's an extra $400,000 those 2 institutions can get, and then each other institution can get up to another $2.9 million based upon certain factors. So, we talk about sin taxes and everything. And, the tax on gambling really is a sin tax, but they are doing some, looks like North Carolina is at least attempting to do something positive with the sin tax that they're getting off of the gambling money.
Yeah. WSSU Ram Nation says 300K is the floor.
Yes.
And Drew, I do want us to nerd out on it a little bit. We go into the business component of it. So we're going to take this first break. We're going to go back in the next segment. We're going to let Charles get in here and talk about this. Maybe even bring up the picture that brings up those 3 different frameworks and talk about the sports wagering, the pros and cons. How do you feel about colleges getting into this? Obviously, it's positive. from a financial standpoint, but I want to get into a little bit of that dialogue. So let's take our first break. We'll come back in the second segment. We're actually going to take a deeper dive and nerd out a little bit, talk about from a business perspective, and then we can even get into maybe a moral framework in terms of your thoughts on this issue. Big news, big news. So let's take that deeper dive in time. We'll be right back after this first break.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU.
If you've ever told yourself, I want to get into real estate but don't know where to start, here's something just for you. From Friday, July 31st to Sunday, August 2nd, the Learn Real Estate Fast Masterclass is coming to McKenzie Office Park in College Park. You'll learn wholesaling, commercial investing, and how to purchase property with zero money or credit. I can tell you, education and access are everything. This masterclass is designed to give you both. Whether you're brand new or ready to level up, this is where you start making real moves. Enjoy free lunch, free study materials, and receive a certification of completion. So don't wait. Seats are filling fast. Do not sit on the sidelines while others build wealth. Take that first step toward ownership and legacy. Get your tickets now at learnrealestatefast.com or tickpick.com. For more information, call 678-859-3303. Master the market, build your legacy, secure your future today.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
So Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. So as you said, I wanted to get a little bit into that. Let me read framework what AD talked about. We talked about the 300K being the floor. It could go up to 3.6 million annually. Think about what that could do to a budget. For example, North Carolina A&T, 3.1 million based on appropriations, which is the 300K, basically what you're guaranteed, Charles and AD. As you know, Class 1 cap is the next elevation, Division 1, which could be 400K, and then the Division 2 cap, which is Division 1 and Division 2, could be as much as 2.9 million. So that could be in fluctuation on your budget for A&T, 3.6. Obviously, Central Division 1 FCS out of the MEAC, 3.6. Winston-Salem State, much as 3.2. Fayetteville State, Elizabeth City State as public institutions, 3.2 million as well. So fascinating when you talk about these caps and opportunities here. Charles, from this perspective, what would you think in regards to being able to see, anywhere from 300K additionally into your budget to as much as 3.6, 100+% of the 300K in your budget annually? Where are you going when you think about this?
I mean, obviously, I think it looks like a good thing in terms of getting that added revenue to your sports program. But I guess from this perspective, and this is just devil's advocate, like what door does it open in terms of getting in bed with sports, with the revenue from sports wagering, in terms of what the potential door becomes open from that point. We see it, with Brendan Scoresby, with everything that's going on with him with regards to the gambling probe. But the question becomes is how much in bed does your program get in with saying gambling is okay? I mean, what does it look like in terms of how you talk to your stakeholders in terms of the revenue that we're getting from this syntax, so to speak? What does it look like? So I think that's the question that you can sort of grapple with. I mean, I think on the surface it looks tremendous in terms of getting that revenue into your program, but at what cost? At what moral cost to your program?
I think that's another side of it, and you're right that you think about it. I think in this very hyper-capitalistic society, I think more people would think about the money. What's fascinating, though, is you just had everybody that wanted to bury Brendan Scoresby because he was allured and captured into the device that he had in his hand. It was so easy. And so we have one side of society that will quickly throw away an individual, no rehabilitation. And then, we've seen that happen in terms of Alabama State. And before that, a couple of other HBCUs that got involved with players that did this. And we don't like the negativity and move away from it, but you're absolutely right. They kind of go hand in hand. And it's fascinating to see what that looks like. 80 Drew, from that same perspective, before we take a deeper dive and you get into some of the dialogue where you could have took a deeper dive in terms of what the numbers and what that looks like. First, let's opine what Charles just put on table. You and your role, obviously, are very aware how the NCAA looks at it, and you do everything in your power in marketing, communication, make sure the students are aware of to stay away from this in terms of as they play in the game, because it could cost you literally your career. What are your thoughts in terms of the negative side of having to look and take the money from folks that are gambling, but at the same time telling your students, hey, stay clear, don't do what we do in some ways?
I mean, this is the ultimate double-edged sword there, fellas. Because let's be real, and I'll speak from the Division II level. Even the $300,000, if that's all we got on the Division II level, that's a tremendous windfall on the Division II level. If you're talking $3 million, in some people instances, and just to kind of put out there, they may double some athletic budgets at the Division II level, depending on who you are. Just kind of keep that perspective with everybody. So the couple things that I've got is, number one, where does that money go? While on the FCS level, that might be money that you use for NIL opportunities. On the Division II level, that may be money, obviously into facilities, but that may be money to take some of those non-revenue sports and to be able to offer them more scholarships. So where does this money go? Let's take Winston-Salem, who's been getting this money along with other schools. Fayetteville State, before this came in, was a fairly successful program on the Division II level.
That's a good point.
I don't know if this is the cause. I mean, if this the effect that we saw with the Winston-Salem being competitive and winning some sports this year was the effect of this or not. Obviously, there's a case study to be made on that, but if on the surface, it looked like Winston-Salem had an excellent plan going into this to become competitive. But let's also look, Elizabeth City. When have we ever talked about Elizabeth City football being competitive? And they were competitive this past year. Everybody slept on them. So maybe this is the difference. And these teams within the CIAA will have a slight advantage and be able to catch the Virginia Unions, the Virginia States, and the Bowie States, in the CIAA. But I have always compared this gambling thing to alcohol. State controls alcohol, state controls gambling.
Good comparison.
You can't buy liquor anywhere unless the state tells their store they have a license. And in most states, you actually buy the liquor from the state that they sell in the liquor store. So, but what also do they tell you? You can't drink and drive. So that's their double-edged sword. They sponsor the alcohol. They sell you the alcohol, but they tell you don't get caught drinking and driving. Don't get caught gambling, y'all. Don't gamble. So and they may send you and then what do we have? We have the Alcoholics Anonymous, the Gamblers Anonymous. So as long as the safeguards are there, we're educating our young men and our young women playing. I think it can be good, and but the poison pill is there. You just hope that some people are smart enough not to take it.
Well,
go ahead, Joe.
No, I mean, I think you there has to be some level of expectation of shrinkage somewhere. You know that it's going to catch an athlete up at some point, and that's just the nature of how it's going to be. I mean,
just
once
you
open that door, right? I mean, once the door is open, the door is open. It is what it is. But every now and then, somebody is going to get picked off because the beauty of the sin is the sin itself. So you do take a bite of the apple.
He said the beauty of the sin is the sin itself. That's
not the big apple.
I don't think I've heard it quite like that, but that's an excellent point when you bring it home. Thing that I'll end this segment on from this perspective is the fact that we also talk a lot about sports to be copycat leagues. We've seen that in the nation, both on the positive and negative side in terms of states copying. Do you see this as something that other states will copy this model? And from that perspective, now what had enhanced North Carolina will have other states, if they match it in some form, now they'll be equal out from that perspective, and it just gets deeper. I'll start with you, Charles. Do you see other states, I should say?
I've been wondering forever how casino money didn't somehow filter its way back into state institutions. Because
can I take that for 500?
I'm just curious.
Yeah, there's one in Oklahoma. My brother went to East Central, and they have a local Native American nation that's there. And they have bought a lot of things up in the city, the state, county, if you would. And their last venture has been doing a lot of things that increase from the institutional higher education Division II program in that area. And now they're even getting into athletics where they're buying up things. And it's created a huge influx of financial support. So that's one example in terms of a casino that worked directly with athletics. But I know what you're talking about from a larger perspective. You hadn't seen it, but I would imagine it's taboo. But as these budgets get strained, I can see them finding a way to justify it. I think AD gave us the perfect example. You remember at one time, we didn't see a lot of institutions that sold alcohol at games.
Correct.
And we even see now HBCUs in some of their facilities have gotten in the business saying, hey, this is what our patrons want. We will, as you said, protect it in terms of making sure people are legal in terms of the drinking age, but we're going to sell it. So great point. You were doing that. And I think AD Drew was probably going to tune in with some of that, but I'll let him add anything else he was going to jump in there. As he said, I'll take that for 100.
Yeah, well, you gave part of my answer because a lot of it has to do with the Native American tribes in a lot of these states actually controlling a lot of the casinos that are in the states, and because they're on federal land and everything else, they get to keep a lot of that money. So a lot of that money does not flow back into the system to the people who actually patronize those casinos. Just depends on which state that you are in.
Sure. Yep.
That's number one. You asked about copycat. Dr. Cavil, some states already have it there, but they don't want to do it. How many states do not have a lottery? This is the same type thing. You know, we had
that's how a lot of those states, Georgia, Texas. One of the ways they sold it in those states were one of the things they quote unquote had to get over was the Bible Belt, right?
Right,
They
exactly.
said, hey, this money is going to go into education.
Right.
And 20 years later, there's folks I know in Texas, and I imagine in Georgia, they still asking the question, what happened to all that money going into education?
Yeah. Well, you know, Georgia does have the Hope Scholarship, which is funded by the Georgia Lottery. But, you know, this is the same argument we had 30, 40 years ago when you started seeing states adopting all these various lotteries within their states and everything. And ultimately, it's going to be the same way. Just like you go to the corner store, the gas station, and get your scratch offs. It's going to get to a point where when you go to the gas station and you go to pay for 20 on number 5, you're gonna tap your card because you don't have coins anymore. You're gonna tap your card and play one of the machines in the gas station like you do when you're in Vegas and everything. So you know it's going to evolve. Kudos to the state of North Carolina for taking the lead on this. You know, it took some real kahunas to come up with this, to sell this, and for the people to actually buy this. And looks like, just look at those institutions, they are benefiting from this.
Right. Based on the analysis, now we could take a deeper dive, but based on what we saw, there's a little question that it certainly seems to have helped them in terms of their competitiveness. If nothing else, on the football, basketball, in some areas, all sports. So let's take our next break. We'll come back on the other side, take a little bit of more deep dive into some HBCU news of the day, and then we'll get into some more dialogue and discussion as we move through the show. Look for us on Thursday. We will announce the top 6 for the mid-major. That is the Division II and NAIA, I should say, ADs, in some cases, VPs of athletics of the year. We'll see the number 1 ranking and see, this is our inaugural unveiling of the mid-major division. So I'm excited to see what that looks like in terms of seeing if I will make AD's day or not, or will he have me back on the other side of town, as they say. We'll be right back after this break.
You cause enough trouble.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
If you've ever told yourself, I want to get into real estate but don't know where to start, here's something just for you. From Friday, July 31st to Sunday, August 2nd, the Learn Real Estate Fast Masterclass is coming to McKenzie Office Park in College Park. You'll learn wholesaling, commercial investing, and how to purchase property with zero money or credit. I can tell you, education and access are everything. This masterclass is designed to give you both. Whether you're brand new or ready to level up, this is where you start making real moves. Enjoy free lunch, free study materials, and receive a certification of completion. So don't wait. Seats are filling fast. Do not sit on the sidelines while others build wealth. Take that first step toward ownership and legacy. Get your tickets now at learnrealestatefast.com or tickpick.com. For more information, call 678-859-3303. Master the market, build your legacy, secure your future today.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU.
This is Ryan Fulford. Indy Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside HBCU Sports Lab. Let's get back into some other news of the day of the week and see what else is on your mind. Covering some great things, fascinating. No, Charles, you talked about the Hamer. I think that has rocked everybody. But what else is on your mind and some news of the day in terms of that has you pausing, if not thinking twice?
Well, I did catch this, John Wall, and we talked about a little bit about Kendrick Perkins, what Jackson said, but John Wall has accepted a position to be over basketball operations at Howard. So you get another NBA talent that's coming into the HBCU ranks with regards to John Wall. So had a sit down interview with Jay Harris talking about that. So that kind of caught my eye there with regards to another NBAer that's sort of working his way through the college ranks, and he said his goal is to be an NBA GM at some point.
I think it's fascinating, and he was very heads-on in Coach Kenny Blakeney in terms of helping him and preparing for that opportunity. Thought this was a good place to start. And I think this is part of the reason. I know a lot of people had the discussion whether it was with Jackson State or Howard, what does this do for you? But even the fact that you have ESPN Jay's Harris giving you time to pub your institution, to getting the brand out there, that much more, I think is big. And to your point, John Wall says he proudly carries Washington, D.C. with him everywhere he goes. So it's no surprise that was part of the reasoning for becoming Howard University's president of operations. For men's basketball, Wall in his recent sit-down interview with ESPN's Jay Harris explained the various things that drew him to Howard. Quote, Coach Blakeney, what he has done with the Dream Factory is incredible, end quote. Wall said they won the first NCAA tournament game last year. We are trying to win more. They're not satisfied with just one, end quote. Blakeney and the Bison defeated UMBC 86-83, as we recall. In the first four for Howard's first tournament win, they also gave eventual national champion Michigan. Think about that. People kind of slept on that except for us. A game for more than a half before falling 101-80 in the first round. Wall also explained that this goal is to be an NBA general manager, and he felt a program such as Howard was the best place to begin the journey. Quote, when it comes to basketball talent, we can all pick that out and figure out what's going on, end quote, he said. But can we put a team together? Can we understand the business? Why do the numbers match up to the way they do? That's why I look forward to this opportunity, end quote. Really fascinating when you think about that. You know, talking about Mike, he really likes to get into data and analytics. And we're even looking at Texas Southern University moving forward with our sports analytics, data analytics approach, because it is the new wave. Both of you all are into data in different ways. AD Drew will get you going. Mike will get you going in terms of looking at the data. How much do you see that going forward, with that being a true component of sports, understanding data on one side just from the business perspective, but also in terms of the sport itself, in terms of mechanics, analytics, of how do you get players better or make a team better in terms of that move, Drew?
I'm going to be honest with you, fellas. And I go back to my coaching days when I was, when I was even coaching high school before I got to Tuskegee. I was doing this thing called analytics before it even had a title. I just didn't know what it was, you know. Right. I was looking at stats and trends and different things like that, trying to figure out what number I could do to get a competitive advantage. And I think for me, and it's just me personally, I think because I grew up such a baseball fan, and baseball is such a numbers game. It's baseball is about percentages. The only game where you can fail 7 out of 10 times and still be a Hall of Famer. But playing those percentages, knowing that they move, knowing that they hit the ball the opposite way most of the time, and how to shift some of those same principles that as a kid you didn't understand why your coach was doing it. It's just you did it. Applying those same things to when I was a basketball coach. Okay, he's a knockdown 3-point shooter from the top of the key, but if you put him in the corner, you can leave him wide open. Or when he comes off the dribble, he can't shoot off the dribble. So the big thing is make him put the ball down at least one time. Can we make him go left? Then we can potentially get to just going through all those different things based upon film study and numbers and everything like that. You talk about the competitive portion of it, but it's the same thing when you look at things such as budgeting and forecasting and all that stuff. Because if you can't figure out your budget, these numbers, and now you got to add this extra component with NIL. Thank God, 30 plus years ago, I decided to get a degree in accounting and up by a degree in economics. Because if I did not have those 2 degrees and understand the flow of numbers, I would be lost right now as an administrator, as some of our administrators are.
Hey, don't say that too loud. Well,
no, you just got to have people like me on your
team. It makes you put that finance degree to use. That's what I have.
Finance, economics, accounting, some type of degree with numbers.
So I want to before we end this segment, I want to talk about this. I've given Charles so much credit that it makes me nervous in terms of what he said about the power of the East. But I want to take it from another perspective. Look at the conference records. You know, what I like about this, it really is about the conference, right? It doesn't take what you did outside the conference or whatever. This is how you did against your peers within the conference that you played for. It's split evenly between East and West, with 3 teams in each having winning records and 3 teams in each having losing records. Now, when you think about the teams that are winning, Jackson is way up there at the top. Started off extremely hot and has maintained it over the first 5 years of SWAC football record. Make sure I put that out there. 31-3. This does include, if you would, championship games, so make sure you're mindful of that. FAMU 27-6, Alabama State 19-15. So I don't think there's much surprise on that side. On the West, maybe a little bit of surprising for some. Prairie View sitting at 23-12, Southern at 20-13, Alcorn at 20-14. So you see the strengths there. You see the programs. With the bird's eye view, Charles, when you thought about it at the beginning, which is held true in terms of the strength of the division. But what are your thoughts when you look at it a little differently here from this perspective, in terms of teams' winning percentage between the two divisions and the teams that are there?
Well, I think we've talked about it, and I think one of the things, especially taking a look at Prairie View, we know that they have won ball games. They've won ball games, and in prior years, they wasn't winning the right ball game, things of that nature. But they have been a consistent program. I think if since expansion, I think the one that has been surprising has been Southern. But you look at them at 20-13, but the big dip last year. But if you've been paying attention to Prairie View's program over the past few years, they have been a consistent, 6-7 win, 8-win team. But it was until last year where you saw the breakthrough. So you take a look at what they've been able to do in the West, and it's right along with the numbers. It bears out. I think Jackson State has been tremendous over this first few years in expansion, and from Coach Prime carrying it right into TC, that this was a program that was, for lack of better words, they were hungry and they were ready to take on this expansion, the challenge of expansion, and they've been right there at the top of things in the East. I think the concerning thing is you start taking a look at the programs that have been just treading water. Alabama State, Alabama A&M, Alcorn, Texas Southern. Grambling has been a huge shock. I've always said about Grambling, if they're down one year, they're going to be right back in the thick of things, and it just hadn't turned the way that we thought it would have with Grambling before. So, these numbers are very, striking to take a look at, but it does bear out, who has been the consistent teams over the past few years.
Good points there. Talking about analytics, Drew, what are your thoughts when you see this records in terms of conference games, head-to-head matchups within the conference, broken down by divisions?
I'm going to hold my I got one thought I got to hold on this one. Now, this is just the records overall, or this is cross divisions?
This is overall.
Overall. I would love
Which would
to
include games they played.
Right.
In the
I
division.
would love to see the breakdown cross division for each of these particular teams. I would love to talk about
that. West. It does not look good for the West. Charles had picked on me and I did it and was thinking it may not be that bad. It's not even close.
All right. But a couple of things. Let's keep something in mind, everybody. Until last year, the East Division champion was undefeated in conference. Last year was the first time that we had an East Division champion since expansion with a loss in the championship game. So that's number one. And what's it said? Jackson State has dominated. I think they won 3 of the 4 since expansion. If I got that number right, with FAMU being the only other one in the East to win a division. The shocker to me was Alcorn, and because if we think about it, the 5 years before expansion, when Alcorn was in the East, they were the dominant team in the SWAC. Ironically, Charles, post Grambling.
Absolutely.
So everybody assumed when Alcorn switched to the West that dominance was going to continue, and it did not. I think that is the most shocking thing. If you really sit back and think about it, that Alcorn has not gotten at least one in the West since expansion.
And they had an impressive run in the East. I mean, you talked about it. I mean, until Grambling sort of upended them, but they had a very impressive run over there in the East. And for that to not translate, that is kind of jarring to take a look at.
Well, if you remember, it was almost a pass of the torch because those were the two teams that were facing each other, and then Alcorn finally beat Grambling and continued it on. So it was like a literal passing of the torch around 2016? Because I think 2015 was Grambling's big year or my alpha year. 15, 16, somewhere around there is when that was the complete passing of the torch.
Yeah, great comments. And G Boom added one more, that even though Alabama State and Alcorn have winning records, they have not been able to get over the hump and even get into the SWAC championship game.
Well, it's hard when you got Jackson State going N-0, or when you have FAMU going N-0 every year, and Alabama State one loss last year. But
correct. Same with Alcorn, that they're either stuck behind Prairie View or Southern to get what's necessary to even get into the championship game. And we've talked ad nauseum about the East dominating in terms of hosting the championship game. All right, we'll take our last break, come back on the other side. We'll get into a little more talk HBCU-wise, and we'll be right back on the other side to get into, they announced who's coming to the SWAC Media Day. We'll talk a little bit about that, and then we'll get into some other talk and have a moment of silence also in recognition in our last part of the last segment as we close out the show.
If you've ever told yourself, I want to get into real estate but don't know where to start, here's something just for you. From Friday, July 31st to Sunday, August 2nd, the Learn Real Estate Fast Masterclass is coming to McKenzie Office Park in College Park. You'll learn wholesaling, commercial investing, and how to purchase property with zero money or credit. I can tell you, education and access are everything. This masterclass is designed to give you both. Whether you're brand new or ready to level up, this is where you start making real moves. Enjoy free lunch, free study materials, and receive a certification of completion. So don't wait. Seats are filling fast. Do not sit on the sidelines while others build wealth. Take that first step toward ownership and legacy. Get your tickets now at learnrealestatefast.com or tickpick.com. For more information, call 678-859-3303. Master the market, build your legacy, secure your future today.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
I'm Cameron Peters, quarterback of the Prairie View A&M 2025-2026 SWAC football championship team.
Here on second and goal, Peters looking for some space, and he runs into the end zone. The first score of the game goes to the Panthers.
As the offensive MVP and champion, when I'm not busy studying or practicing or spending time with my family and friends, I catch up on my sports highlights by watching Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab.
Bourne pumps
pump fake, steps into the two-point jump shot. That is fundamental. Yeah, you got to stay on your feet on him. Looking for some space, and he runs into the end zone. The first score of the game. Teams that were not picked to win their respective conferences.
Prairie View produces productive people. Prairie View, where champions are built. Not like me. PV, you know.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington. He's out on assignment. We have none other than the professors in the building. That's Professor Bishop and Professor Drew. Let's get into a little bit of this SWAC talk in terms of who's coming to Media Day. Any names get you excited, stand out? I know some of the names here are intriguing when you think about it. Media Day, obviously, coming up. Excited about that. Starts at 10 a.m. Have a little noise in the background there. But let me go with you, Charles. What are your thoughts in terms of the names associated with the Media Day here?
What jumped out for me initially was just taking a look at all the number of quarterbacks that are coming. You got 6 quarterbacks that'll be with their respective head coaches. A lot of returning starters. You take a look at guys like Cornelius Brown, of course, Andrew Body, Jalen Tolbert at Alcorn, Isaiah Knowles coming into this Florida A&M program. It'll be kind of curious to see what they do this upcoming season with Quinn Gray, with new coaches and whatnot. Jared Lockhart from Jackson State, Josh Brown from Valley. So you got a lot of quarterbacks. Cameron McCoy transferred over to Texas Southern. He'll be coming over. So it's very kind of interesting. You know, we talk about, have quarterback, have wins, and you got a lot of returning starters coming back this upcoming season. It makes for a lot of parity, I think, in this upcoming season.
I think this is interesting. In a lot of ways, we may not have focused on many of the quarterbacks that are returning. Many of them were coming back after injury, a couple of them, I should say. And you have a couple of them that were essentially freshmen that are coming back. One that transferred, played some. So that's fascinating to kind of see what that means. Even though they're coming back, it's in a different paradigm that may have us looking different at what it looks like. A couple of transfers, I should say, when you think about Isaiah Knowles. AD Drew, what stands out to you, or any question marks you have on anybody in terms of what you're thinking, or anybody in particular that you want to talk to, whether it's the head coach or player?
I saw a couple of offensive linemen on this list, and for some reason, I love talking to the offensive linemen because we know those are people. When we go on Saturday afternoon and we interview somebody post game, 99% of the time we are not looking for the offensive lineman to talk to.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting that a couple of offensive linemen are coming, but those interesting combination, offensive lineman and a linebacker. I mean, what kind of sound bites do you expect out of an offensive lineman and the linebacker? Because traditionally, those aren't the people with the biggest personalities. It's the D-backs with the personalities. It's obviously the quarterbacks, the receivers. So those are going to be, that's what I'm interested in. Grambling and Bethune, what kind of energy are their two participants each going to bring? Because we know what kind of energy quarterbacks bring. We definitely know what kind of energy D-backs bring. So that's what I'm going to be really interested in seeing, that type of energy that those players bring. And one other thing, the people in this chat haven't seen it, but we talk about since SWAC expansion, Dr. Cavil, we need to talk about the fashion show since SWAC expansion, because as you have gone, and you've gone to a lot more media days than I have, but just the fashion trend that these people have, from the coordinated suits to you almost think you're on the BET Awards when you walk into the SWAC Media Day now.
They need to have a red carpet out there. That would be pretty cool. It does have a little red carpet action to it. So.
Red, black, and green. Got to be red, black, and green carpet.
Oh yeah, for sure. We really talking about the power struggle then. What's interesting to me is a lot of these coaches want to run the ball, and they have some players that can run the ball, but nobody's bringing a running back. We have all these featured quarterbacks. That maybe not surprise you. But even in the cases where you don't have a quarterback, you have wide receivers. Quite a few wide receivers are getting some love this
Personality, Doc. Personality.
Yeah. I guess we often today running backs no longer get the plug and they don't have the personality. Man, get your weight up, running backs. Come on, man. We pulling for you. We pulling for you. Before we switch it, coaches. Any coaches, we have those general that have the sound bites that you like to. Other ones that have you really focused, excited. Got a couple of new coaches there. Quinn Gray, obviously what he was able to do for us following him at Albany State, now going to his alma mater, FAMU. I think that's one. Marshall Falk obviously is quite enamored by some people. But Charles, anybody in particular, coach, that you're going to have your eye on, certain sound bites or something that you're looking for to see if they're going to take you next step? Obviously, you have returning coaches. They played for championship. TC Taylor won the championship 2 years ago. He's back in the mix. He's always solid in terms of his interviews. Then you have Coach Jackson, Prairie View, back in the mix, and everybody will tell you they love him for a soundbite. But anything outside of that?
Well, I mean, Coach Jackson will talk the talk and walk the walk. Now he has a trophy behind his name, so you go hear a little something from Tremaine Jackson. But I like the energy that all the coaches, for the most part, bring. There's a lot of optimism coming into SWAC Media Day, so you really appreciate just the energy that everybody brings, and it does. It's AD, you talked about new school year. It is sort of the morning of, so to speak, of the upcoming season. So you really do get excited about all these players, and I've noticed when I'm doing interviews with them now, it struck me a couple of years ago. He was like, one of the offensive linemen was like, man, I was waiting to talk to you. I was looking forward to it all season. So, you really kind of appreciate the fact that these young men, they're paying attention on SWAC TV, and they're really excited to be there and really get the season up and going.
Anybody from your perspective, whether it's player or coaches, that really like, hey, man, I got to hear a couple of these sound bites. They're just good. Or just somebody that you have a particular question that you want to get a perspective on that you can't necessarily get outside of being in that room.
Well, I'll tell you one that I need y'all to pay attention to. One coach in particular, Sam Shade. And the question for him is the parallel between his start at Miles and his start at Alabama A&M. If we think back to Miles, he had one win his first year at Miles, second year championship. And does he see the same type of parallel at Alabama A&M? Did not meet expectations his first year. Is the second year his turnaround year where he dominates the SWAC? We know the fiasco they had with the quarterback situation. Looks like that's settled, and he's a good interview. I have interviewed him before. I'm really interested to see what Sam Shade and the Alabama A&M Bulldogs, the team that's going to muck up everybody's predictions. I said muck with the M, everybody, okay?
Good catch. No doubt. Hate to bring this news, but I think it's appropriate before we close that we do our moment of silence. We tend to do this at the beginning of the show, but we literally got the news update in the middle of the show and decided to go out with the recognition that is certainly due to this individual. DJ Jones has shared with us that the legendary coach Roger Cater just passed away about an hour ago. He was an incredible legend. For those that lost to him, he still was magic in terms of what he did. Obviously, for Southern fans, he brought a real dynamic in terms of when they would say it's the S on our chest, in terms of what he did for baseball. And he was able to build baseball in this conference at a time when there was not a lot of money being put into baseball. And he literally went and got his own money and was able to create it. I mean, legendary players from all over the field. I hate to name some of them just because it's really so many. And many of them came back and were able to get in Major League Baseball, not just play. Others worked in Major League Baseball. And then those that just became great citizens. But he brought a lot of pride for that program, a lot of pride into the SWAC. And it was he that actually pushed the SWAC into this new generation for me, where other programs decided to get in the baseball business. And because of that, we owe a lot of the current strength that we see in the SWAC, particularly now after expansion, which is wonderful. And then he was able to transition into calling games, and his ability to tell stories is deep. Charles, I'm going to save you for last, because I know you've had some personal moments with Coach Kadar, among with all of us. But I want to hold you off a little bit and allow AD Drew to share his thoughts on the legend himself, Coach Kadar.
I'm going to quickly read his bio. He was born January 30th, 1952. He took over the Southern baseball program in 1984 and went on to build one of the most respected college baseball programs. And this comes from his from the American Baseball Coaches Association page, his bio on that page. He retired in 2017 with a career record of 913 wins, 597 losses, and 1 tie. That's a .604 winning percentage. Over the 33 seasons, Kador's team won 2 HBCU national championships, 03 and 05, 14 SWAC conference championships, 11 NCAA regional appearances, 13 Coach of the Years, and 10 players made All-Americans. Dr. Cavil, there was exactly 62 players drafted out of his program by MLB teams, including the 2003 Golden Spike Award winner, Ricky Weeks. As we know, he had those reach upsets against Cal State Fullerton in 1987. Game that really put him on the map. He had 2 more victories and posted a 12-30 win seasons. Everybody, I could go on and on and on, but I think that's the gist of it. He played for the Jaguars from 70 to 73 with a .393 batting average as a junior in 1972. Played professionally in the Atlanta Braves organization from 73 to 77. Made it to the AAA level. And after that, in the beginning of 1978, he returned to Southern as an assistant baseball coach and assistant basketball coach from 1980 to 84 before taking over as the baseball coach full-time in 1984. Led to the SWAC Hall of Fame in 2018 and the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame in 2019 and the American Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame in 2021. Excuse me for being long-winded, everybody, but if you've ever been around Roger Kador, he deserved that long soliloquy.
No doubt about it. Many of those records will never be broken. Charles, I'm going to give it over to you to bring us home.
Yeah, I mean, somebody who I have complete reverence for. Somebody who I grew up playing the sport of baseball. And I told him this just at random. He caught one of my baseball games in high school, and he pulled me aside and was telling me, pull my elbow down. And then I told him, he doesn't know what he did for me in terms of just telling me, hey, you got a pretty good glove, that's huh? So, and it was just something that pumped me up into get an opportunity to broadcast games with him. for him to just call out the blue. Hey, are you watching this game? And in that Louisiana tongue that he had, and I mean, to just be on the phone with him for 2 hours and just hear stories, and then just him talking you through the game of baseball through his lens. I can't tell you what that does for me as just a baseball person, as a broadcaster. But another one of those individuals that you put right up there in terms of your reverence, in terms of I've grown up in this conference. So there's a reverence for Marino Castle, Archie Cooley, Bob Braddy, Coach Cato, so many coaches that have come through this conference. And, we lost a legend today. It's very tough.
Yeah, he's certainly a legend. I will never forget some of those conversations and just watching him do his work. My fondest memories is he gave us a chance to work with him when we were talking about the Black College World Series, where he was extremely proud of that coming together, and that was one of his things, and a lot of good things happening there. Losing both of those gems, we're going to have to find a way to bring that Black College World Series back. I know we've been working on that, and some people are doing different components of that, but when you lose a legend like Roger Kadar that has now become an ancestor, that's going to push us harder to make sure we do our side. And I'm glad that we are together to be able to give him his moment of silence, as we like to do, and honor him, in terms of what we do covering baseball. He is one of the impetus in terms of why we see it as so important to do that. Go ahead, AD.
I think it's ironic that with Roger passing today and when Coker passed, we were on the air both times when we got the news that both of them passed. And I think I may have been just like this. I think I may have been the first one to get the news and pass it on to you guys while we were on there via text and everything. I just think that it's so ironic when you mentioned the Black College World Series and two of the key guys who helped bring this thing to the forefront just have to pass while we were on the air with three other people who were a part of getting that thing off the ground.
Yeah, no doubt. Very well said. Again, we'll have our moment of silence for the ancestors. Roger Cato, I'm sure, will be up there talking baseball and protecting us all in his own way. Thank you, Roger Cato, Coach. Thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Along with AD Drew, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop every Tuesday and Thursday. We'll be back. And remember, we will release our top 6 for the mid-major of the ADs, VPs of athletics in terms of this academic year. We look forward to Thursday as we discuss the latest news in our lab. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, on Threads, Facebook, and Instagram. That's DrKenyattaCavil. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Dream big. Continue to move forward. We'll talk with you soon. Charles.
Horse.
AD.
Lecture.
Dismiss. Yeah,